Hi and welcome. In this tutorial we're going to take an image like this and we're going to split it into panels like this, and we're going to be using layers, transform and a little bit of advanced blending. So shall we get on? My name's Ken Fisher and this is Live Link Training. Right, step one, we're going to create a colour fill adjustment layer, and we're going to do this by going to the bottom of the layers panel, and where we've got this little black and white doohickey here, this yin and yang icon, that's your colour, that's your adjustment layers. I'm going to click on that and hold it down and then go up to the top and select solid colour, and that's going to put a solid colour adjustment layer on for us. Now I'd like this to start with being white, so I'm going to click and drag that right into the corner, and then I'm going to click OK, and you can see now that that puts a colour fill adjustment layer on the top of the stack. So we've got a mask with it, and then this is the actual adjustments itself. Okay then, step two, we're going to draw us first rectangle. Now for this we need to make sure that the colour fill layer is selected, which it is, and we're going to use the rectangle tool. So let's go and do that. So we're going to go into the toolbox, and down here we've got the rectangle tool, and these are vector shapes. So I'm going to click on that, and then up here somewhere around this area I'm going to click and drag out a rectangle, something like that, and then that properties panel keeps juking up, so I'm going to get rid of it. There we go, gives us a bit more space. Now the tool options bar, make sure that shape is selected from that drop down box here. Everything else can be left on its own, and there is a colour, but what we'll do is we'll just take the stroke and make sure there's no colour on the stroke for this. So I'm going to click on stroke, and then I'm going to click this little red slash, and that'll take out any colour that's on the actual stroke around the outside. And this blue area here, this is just showing you where exactly the vector shape is, because technically it doesn't exist, there's no pixels in it. So just ignore that, it will go away, and if I click back on the background layer you'll see that it will disappear. I'll click back on the rectangle layer and it'll come back again. I'm going to rename this layer panel, so I'm going to go on where it says rectangle 1, I'm going to double click inside it and then type panel, and then just click to accept it. Step 3, let's add a little dynamics to it by rotating the panel a little bit, or putting it at a cockly angle, as we say in Barnsley. Now we can use the keyboard shortcut here of Control and T, or Command and T if you're on a Mac, or you can go up to the edit menu and come down to free transform path, because that's what we're transforming, a path. So I'll click on that one, and there you can see we've got the transform handles up. And so what I can do now is just tip this a little bit to one side, just to make it a little bit cockly and give a little bit of dynamics, hopefully. Okay, and when we've finished that we can go up and click the tick on the tool options bar at the top to commit the transform, and I'm going to do that, and it says this will turn it into a live shape. Yep, that's fine, and we'll click OK. Now step 4, I'd like to make the image a little bit more visible in the panel, and for a little bit of interest I'm going to add a couple of styles. Now what I want to do is go down to the FX icon and click and hold down and then select blending options, and that's going to bring up the layer style and the blending options dialog box. Now it's the advanced blending options in the middle here that we want. First, to make the image visible inside the panel, I'm going to change the knockout, and the knockout is here and it's set to none, and knockout allows me to basically drill down and knock out any of the data in intervening pixels right down to the background layer. So if I put this to shallow, and now what I need to do is take down the fill opacity, take that right down to 0, and you'll see that if we look now we can actually see through to the image underneath it because we've knocked everything out. That's brilliant. And now I think we'll add, while we're here, we'll add a couple of left styles. We'll add a drop shadow, And you can play about with these sliders. Let's have a look at that. No, I think I'd write that the other way around. We'll take the angle round that way. We'll take the distance down a little bit and the spread up a little bit, and then the size just to soften it off. I'm just looking for a little bit of a drop shadow. Okay, and then I think we'll have a stroke. So I'm going to click on the stroke. Now I want the colour to be white, that's fine. I want it to be inside because I want the corners to be square at 90 degrees. Blend mode, normal, opacity, leave it at 100. And then all I'm going to do is just maybe bring the size down a couple of points. So I'll bring that down to say 2. I just want a little bit of an edge round it like that. And then when I click OK, that should accept all of that and we're ready to rock. Okay, step 5. Let's create another panel. Now let's make sure that the panel layer is active, which it is. I've just clicked on it to make it active. And I'm going to duplicate it with the keyboard shortcut of Control and J, or if you're on a Mac, Command and J. And I've now got panel copy. And what I want to do is to drag the panel copy layer, click it and drag it and drop it underneath the panel layer. And you'll know when to let go because you'll see those little blue lines. And when I let go, I've now got the panel underneath the panel copy. Now we can move and rotate the panel copy, and I'm going to do that with, again, Edit and Free Transform Path. So I'm going to go over to Edit and down to Free Transform Path, or there's keyboard shortcut Control and T. And you can see now that it's underneath the existing panel. And we can click it and drag it out, and then rotate it again at another cockly angle to suit yourself. So I'll put it somewhere like that, I think. Okay, and then I'll double click to accept it, or you could click the tick in the tool options bar. Step 6 is just to keep duplicating and moving and rotating. The duplicated layer must always come underneath the previous one. So if we duplicate the panel copy layer with Control and J, or Command and J if you're on a Mac, a panel copy 2 layer will be created like this. So if I try panel copy and I do a Control and a J, I'll get a panel copy 2. And what I need to do is to drag that underneath the panel copy. So basically we're going downhill here. We've got panel, panel copy and panel copy 2. And then again we're going to transform, Control and T, and I can move that one out a little bit, and then I can rotate it again at a little bit of a cockly angle, and we'll have it about there. And then I can double click inside, or I can click the tick to accept it, and then we'll just keep going. So we've now got panel copy 2. So if I do Control and J now, or Command and J, that gives me a panel copy 3, and I drag that underneath panel copy 2. I think you're getting this as we go along, aren't you? And then we need to move it, so we can do Edit and Free Transform Path, and we'll move it out a little bit, and then we'll just put it at a little bit of an odd angle. There we go. Or should we have it that way? Yeah, I think we'll have it that way, something like that. Okay, and then we can accept that again, click the tick. And we'll maybe do it once more. Let's have a go. So we'll get panel copy 3, Control and J, Command and J to duplicate it. We get panel copy 4. We'll drop that underneath. And then we need to transform it again. So we can do Control and T. And we can move it out. And then we'll just rotate it a little bit. So something like that. Maybe this could do with being a bit straighter upper actually, or shall we have that one, the next one? So we'll double click on that to accept it. We've got panel copy 4, so we'll duplicate that, Control J, Command J to get us a panel copy 5, drop that underneath, and then what's next? It's transform, isn't it? It's Control and T, and then drag it out a little bit to the edge. And then we'll rotate that, probably maybe straighten that one up a little bit so we've got all that hair on. Okay, then we'll double click to accept. And then what we'll do, we'll just go down and click on the background layer just to remove everything. And ooh, yeah, I quite like that. I think we're cooking with gas with this one. Okay, well that's all the cutting out done. I think just as a finishing touch, I'd like the canvas to be a little bit wider at either side. So I'm going to use the crop tool to crop that a little bit wider. So I'm going to go to the toolbox and I'm going to click on the crop tool. Or we can use the keyboard shortcut of C. I'm going to click on the crop tool and it'll bring up the crop handles. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to drag this one out a little bit that way and that one out a little bit that way. And then double click to accept it. I think that looks a lot better. In fact, we could do with a little bit of a crop down at the bottom really. So we'll go back to the crop tool again and drag the bottom out a little bit and then double click to accept it. Oh yeah, I think that looks better. Now step 8, a little bit of a finishing touch I think. The white background is a little bit too much, so I think what I'd like to do is change it for a colour sample from the image. Now to this I'm going to double click on the colour fill layer, so if we drop right down to the bottom and we double click on the colour fill icon, the colour picker will open up. And here if we move the cursor outside the colour picker, it'll change to a little pipette thingy, a colour sampler. And now I can go and I can pick a colour. So if I, let's say, choose a skin tone, oh the hair's quite red, I quite like that. Or do we like a deeper red? It's difficult this. Or do I want a green from the eyes? Oh, I think that works quite well. Okay, I'm going to be happy with that and I'm going to click OK. Well, that's it for this video. How to give the effect of splitting an image up into strips. I do hope you liked it. If you did, please visit my new website, livelinktraining.com, for loads more videos on Photoshop, Lightroom and photography. And please scoot to the bottom of any page and click the subscribe to my YouTube channel button and help me build a Photoshop learning community. I'll see you in the very next video. Bye for now.